What is going on, guys? AR Car Reviews back again with another video. And if you guys can't tell, obviously it is very cold in New York right now, but I have a special surprise for you guys. We are going to be reviewing this Nissan Maxima S, and I'll tell you guys why this car is special right now, because 2023 Nissan discontinued the Nissan Maxima. Moment of silence for one of the great automobile cars that we have today. In honor of that, we are going to be doing a review on this car and giving a special shout out to our sponsor, Windbooster, for sending us a dash cam specifically for this Nissan Maxima. So if you guys have a chance, subscribe to the channel, make sure you go check out Windbooster as well, and let's get on with the video. So, as I said before, this is the Nissan Maxima S, one of 6 trims that came out in the 2018 model year. The models of the Maxima were the S, the SL, the SV, the SR, the Platinum, and the Platinum Reserve. So, this being the base model, you have to question, is this really going to be worth it, or is this a good deal? In my opinion, I think this car is a great deal for the value, and especially because of depreciation, you can get these for almost half off. Now, back when this car was brand new in 2018, MSRP for this car was around $34,000. But today you can get them in the teens, high teens, low 20s for a pretty good deal. So what do you get with the S trim that's different from the SR, the SL, and all those other letters? All right, give me a sec. Yeah, it's always like this. Can't find this thing for the life of me. All of those trims comes with the 3.5 liter V6 engine from Maxima. Like what I said before, this is going to be the S trim for the Nissan Maxima. Out of the other 6 trims that Nissan dropped for the 2018 model year, they all have the same engine, the 3.5 liter V6 engine coming from Nissan, pumping out a healthy 300 horsepower. And to be honest, Nissan's been putting this engine in everything. This engine particularly is a pretty old engine, I'm not gonna lie. So this engine first came out in the year 2000, Y2K. That doesn't mean it's a bad engine. This power plant is very healthy, as what I said before. It puts out 300 horsepower, which is a lot more than you get in a lot of the competition. Now, the worst part about this engine is that it gets powered by its Xtronic CVT transmission, which dulls the power a lot in this car. But we're gonna see later, it doesn't make it a boring drive. Oh man. But before we get on the road, let's hear what 24 years of Nissan engineering sounds like, which you could do outside of the car because this car has remote start. Simply lock the car, then hold the remote start button located on the top of the key fob, and let's hear how it sounds. That glorious sound comes from these 2 real decently sized exhaust tips around a color matched diffuser. Looking up, we can see the back of the Maxima, which is the same for all trims. Nissan logo in the middle, Maxima on the left, and trim of the car on the right. You can also see the rear taillights with the term 4DSC leading to the side of the car. At first I thought this stood for the car having 4 disc brakes, or just the company that makes the taillights, to be honest, but 4DSC actually stands for 4-door sports car, which pays homage to the first generation Nissan Maxima made all the way back in 1981. It was rear-wheel drive, had a 5-speed manual, and had the same engine as the Datsun 240Z, but with 4 doors. Hence the name 4-door sports car. Since that time, the Maxima has gone through 8 generations, losing most of the sporty characteristics that made it great along the way. But Nissan still insists that the Maxima today is a 4-door sports car. Now the 8th generation Maxima has 300 horsepower, which is a big bump in the right direction, but it's front-wheel drive, which isn't as sporty, and has a CVT transmission, which has never been in a sports car in the history of everything. So you guys let me know in the comments, do you think the Maxima still has the title for being a 4-door sports car, or is it beat out by the massive competition from the Angry Cats, the German boys, and all those other cars? I think most people knew someone who had a 4th and 5th generation Maxima and really turned it into a fun sporty sedan. But after that, the Maxima nameplate just kind of became regular traffic and hasn't been able to hold up to its former glory. But at least it's doing better than the Ultima, am I right? Checking out the side profile, we can see panels on the Maxima are pretty wide from the car's mirror, and just spending some time around the car, you realize that this is a really big and spacious automobile. Depending on which trim of the Maxima you got, it weighs about 3,500 pounds, which is about the weight of most mid-size sedans, but for some reason this car just feels and drives heavy, especially at low speeds. So for those people who like a light, nimble car, the Maxima may not be for you. Apart from that, we have a nice mixture of chrome and black accents splashed all around the car, going from the front grille to the rear bumper, and you also have some chrome on the door handles, which is keyless entry, by the way. Simply press the little button on the handle with the car keys in your pocket to lock and unlock the doors. This also unlocks the fuel cap, which is not capless. Come on, Nissan. Now they do attach a line to the fuel cap to prevent Maxima owners from losing it, but it's just one of the many ways that Nissan cut costs around things by using older technology. Apart from that, the exterior styling is kind of attractive, especially later models here, so I'll give this car like a 5 out of 10 coming to looks. Now if we go inside of the Maxima, we have a very familiar interior. This has been inside of the Maxima for many years, but that isn't a bad thing. Everything in the car looks well put together with a lot of goodies for day-to-day driving. The first thing you're going to notice is that this car has a lot of space. Just about anyone can fit inside of this car regardless of your height or your weight, in the front, the back, and even the trunk. The steering wheel is a flat bottom steering wheel, which is 100% absolutely fire. You don't see that in every car OEM, so it's great that Nissan gave it to the Maximas. Right in the front of the steering wheel is a beautiful analog gauge cluster with a digital screen in between. This screen feels very luxury car-ish and even does an animation of a Maxima getting ready to drive down the road. At first I thought the car in the animation was color matched to the actual car that I'm reviewing, but it turns out it's the same for every Maxima. Don't get your hopes up. Just get a white Maxima. The screen can be controlled from the steering wheel to check out your fuel consumption, music, tire pressure, compass, warning light settings, and driving aids. You can also check out this car's power meter, which shows you the car's oil pressure, coolant temperature, and lets you know how much power you're using, or how much power you aren't using. You can also get to that screen by going into sport mode, which can be done by pressing the button labeled sport. The other button next to the sport button is named normal, which makes the car drive normal. Right above that, we have a sort of computer mouse select. So the circular dial is pretty simple to navigate. Anybody that knows how to use a computer will know how to use this. It's just that it's really bad. It's a really old system, and Nissan forgot one major thing about the system. This car is a touch screen, okay? It's not like you can only use the dial. You can also just touch the screen. So why wouldn't you just touch the screen? It's no one, absolutely no one is using their dial unless their screen is broken. That's literally the only way. The touchscreen itself is not that bad. It's fairly responsive, but it isn't the fastest system or the best looking. Around the screen, you get some buttons that make the user experience easier, like a menu, a volume button, fast forward, and a rewind. But you also get a super large button that says camera. You guys might be asking, what does it do? Does it give you a 360 view of the car that lets you see everything around you, or does it show you the backup camera or something? The answer is the camera button allows you to change if you want lines on your screen when you shift into reverse. This has to be the weirdest button placement situation I've ever seen in a car. It would have definitely been better if they just left it blank or they just didn't put it there at all. And who doesn't want lines when they're reversing? Honestly, is there like a community of people like that? I don't know. You can also see the CD player, which is very outdated and probably the reason why the system feels so old and clunky. You can also see just the resolution from the backup camera is not the best quality, and if you're wondering where the e-brake or the handbrake is for this car, you won't find either. And the reason for that is because the Maxima actually has a foot parking brake, like what you'd find in an old diesel pickup truck, making this car feel like a weird mix of new and old car technologies. To the right of the steering wheel, you have a button to open the trunk and another button for the traction control. Speaking of the trunk, it's very large and most people have no problem fitting in there. Fitting their items in there. And the seats can even come down for some extra space by pulling on these two strings. Also, an extra plus that you don't see in every car, and definitely I don't see in every car that I review, is that we have adjustable headrest in the rear seats, which is really cool. All in all, the Maxima's interior has a good layout and the style is great, but the tech just seems to be a little outdated, mixed with dated and recent technology. It's super weird, but it is a comfortable car to sit in and drive in, so I'll give it a 5 out of 10 for the interior feel. Now let's get on the road and see how the Maxima tackles these tough New York City streets, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's free and would definitely help the channel out a lot. Okay, driving the 2018 Nissan Maxima. Now I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this car is really big. Like, I'm a big person and I like particularly big cars. You can easily fit a family of 4 or 5 in this car, even with someone as tall as I am. People don't really view it as like a sports car, as like other cars, but it literally has as much power as a Civic Type R. It's front wheel drive as well. And when you just hear the engine, it really wants to go. Like when you put it in sport mode, as silly as the sport mode button looks, it does want to go. Pedal to the metal. Yo, this thing moves, man. Yes, the car is heavy. Yes, it's not as light as other sports cars, you know, but it's just a fun little thing, you know what I mean? Like, so some of my favorite things about this car is 1, the engine, 2, the space, 3, the comfort, 4 is gonna be practicality. You can't argue with this car. Some people argue and say the trunk is not that big. I think the trunk is huge enough for anyone living life. If you don't got enough space in the trunk, throw your stuff in the back seat, throw your stuff in the front seat. You definitely got enough space there. And some cons I have is obviously going to be the CVT transmission. Hate that thing. I don't want to say I hate it. It's just, who doesn't prefer an actual transmission? It's like eating, no, I can't say that. Some people actually do eat that. It's not as good as the original thing, you know what I'm saying? Now, something I really don't like about this car is the handling and the steering. It's just a level of like randomness when you're driving this car, where you're just like, at low speeds, it kind of just wants to go in its own direction. Of course, when you get up in the revs and the speed and stuff like that, it's going to be a little more direct. But yeah, the steering and handling is something that really leaves a lot to be desired. For day-to-day going to work and coming home, it's so easy to live with. But if you want to go fast, this thing can go fast, and it does it with no problem. So here I'm gonna go again. Oh man. I tell you, it's not like get out of here crazy, but it's like enough to make you smile every time you're driving. It's fun, and I think it definitely needs that power, especially with all the weight that it has. So the fact that it does have it, it makes it pretty livable. Nissan as a brand, they could definitely do more things to actually make this car better. Of course, they already killed it off. We're in 2024. Production of this car is done, is dead, but it's still a good deal to get while you can. Now, this car going for like 15, 20 grand, I think is a lot of car for the money, especially when you consider the higher trims like the SR, the SL, stuff that have more luxury. If your pockets are a little tight, you know, this is a good car. Why? Because you get the same engine, you get the same driving, you get the same everything, except for maybe like a sunroof, leather seats, stuff like that. But if you do want those things, you can always just pay a little more money and get them. It would be nice if this car had a actual transmission though. If it had an actual automatic transmission instead of the Xtronic. It does have a manual mode where you can shift in and like start doing shifting yourself. That feels dead. I absolutely love this car. And for someone of my stature, like someone 6'3", you're gonna love this car too. It's absolutely a 4-door sports car. So yeah, that's been my take on this car. Would I buy this? I definitely would. So Guys, let me know in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts on the Nissan Maxima? Is it an actual sports car? Is it not worth the money? Are you glad to see it leave? Do you want one for yourself? What car do you guys think I should review next? If you guys like this review, hit me up with that subscribe button, hit me up with that like button, and of course follow on all the socials, Instagram, tiki-taki, all that other things. And of course, I appreciate you guys for watching. If you guys got this far, let me know in the comments below. They are out.